Hi everyone, thanks so much for tuning in today. I'm here with a much awaited review of MAC Cosmetics Pro Longwear Foundation. This is the new long wearing foundation from MAC that just came out a few weeks ago, and I'm really excited to share with you guys my experience with this foundation tonight. Let's start out with a quick overview of what this foundation is supposed to do. It's described as a long wear foundation that gives a 15-hour wear, and it's described as lightweight and creamy, applies smoothly to the skin with sheer to medium coverage, and it's described as being good for hot and humid climates and environments, and it's good for controlling oil. So I'm just going to go ahead and go through sort of my opinion on this product, the positives, the negatives, what my experience has been with it. So you guys can hopefully determine whether or not this would be a good product for you. As far as the things that I agree with the description, I would agree that this gives light to medium coverage. This does not give full coverage. It does do fairly well to control oil. It does last 15 hours, and it does work really well in humid kind of weather conditions. I've been wearing this foundation for a while, and it's been around on the upper 70s the past couple days, and I've definitely been running errands and sweating a lot, and this has definitely been holding up to that kind of perspiration and humidity. This foundation is definitely transfer resistant, which is the thing I love about it. In comparison to the MAC Studio Fix Fluid, this is so much more long wearing, so much more lightweight, and definitely much more transfer resistant. The Studio Fix Fluid for me oxidized over time. It made my face very greasy, and whenever I would wipe my face with a napkin or anything, if I was eating, I would just see orange coming off on my napkin. It was very disgusting. I was not a fan of that part of the Studio Fix Fluid. So if you're someone who is sort of repulsed by that transferring of foundation, or someone that sweats a lot, I definitely would recommend the Pro Longwear over the Studio Fix Fluid. Now, in comparison to the Studio Fix Fluid, the Pro Longwear is definitely more lightweight. But I would not consider this to be a lightweight foundation. The Studio Fix Fluid is extremely creamy and very heavy. While the Pro Longwear is slightly less heavy than the Studio Fix Fluid, I wouldn't put this in a lightweight category. It's described as lightweight, and I'm not sure if I completely agree with that. I think that the consistency of it is very comparable to Revlon Colorstay. It is very hard to blend, and that is one of the things I really am not so crazy about with this foundation, is that it's sort of a pain to apply in the morning. Once it's on, it looks great, but the whole process of getting it to look very even and blending it well and making sure it doesn't kick up or anything like that, it's sort of a very delicate balance. So you have to be extremely careful to use a very little bit of product, layer it on very slowly, spread it throughout the face, take a look, and then maybe apply more to certain areas that you need more. The finish of this foundation is a natural finish. Now, I've heard things all over the board about this foundation. Some say that it's matte, some say that it's dewy, and I wouldn't really call this either matte or dewy. I would call it natural. And what that means is it has sort of a little bit of that glow to it, that little bit of radiance, but it's not a dewy finish. And I have combination oily skin, and typically I go for a very matte finish. And what I really like about this foundation is you can really control it to either have that matte finish or have a more dewy natural finish. It's a very versatile foundation. If you use powder with this, especially a matte press setting powder, this foundation can look very matte, and if you choose to not powder this foundation, it can look very dewy. This kind of dewy finish for me has been the most natural one that I've encountered so far. When I put it on my skin the first day, I looked in the mirror and I was like, wow, like it really doesn't even look like I'm wearing makeup. I almost felt as though I looked younger because I wasn't just covering my face up with a mask of makeup. I could really see the radiance in my skin shining through this product. Now, granted, you're not going to kind of see that that sort of radiance the first couple hours that you wear this. This is a fairly thick product, so when you first apply it, expect that it's going to look a little bit more opaque, a little bit more matte. You're not going to see that like radiance glowing through right away when you first apply it. I've had to powder or blot about once a day with this foundation within a 10 to 12 hour period. Now I am wearing the foundation today so you can kind of get a feel for the effect. You can see a little bit of dewiness in my forehead and on my T-zone area, but it's not overly greasy or oily at all. I did touch up one time today, probably at hour like 10 or so because I was going out. I just touched up a little bit on my chin and my forehead because the coverage had dissipated slightly, but I really didn't need to. I just kind of wanted to have that little bit of extra coverage to cover up any kind of redness or whatever that had popped up throughout the day. So it definitely lasts all day and it does control oil fairly well. I can say that as someone that has fairly oily skin. So now I just wanted to hit on a few of the negatives of this product. Like I mentioned before, this foundation does feel very heavy when you first apply it. So I hope that you guys won't be scared off by that. If it feels heavy at first, just wait 20-30 minutes and look in the mirror and it will look a lot better. It just needs time to sort of settle into the skin. I've never used a foundation that's like this, but I will say I like this foundation as it wears throughout the day more than I like it when it's first applied. It is very thick consistency, which also I think is a little bit of a negative considering that it doesn't give really good coverage. So I would just also be aware of that when you're working with it. You know, like I mentioned, it's very hard to blend and you want it to look even, so you might have to take a little bit of extra time in the morning to really work with it and make sure that it looks even and looks blended into the skin. Another negative I experienced with this foundation is it feels slightly tacky on the skin when you first apply it. In my opinion, I would never use this foundation without powdering because I hate that tacky feeling. I just want to get rid of it. I want my face to feel dry. I don't want my face to feel sticky at all. So I always set this foundation with a pressed or loose powder, and usually I touch up with a blotting powder once or twice throughout the day just to make sure, but I'm someone that likes a matte finish. So if you like a more dewy finish, you could definitely try not powdering this, but in my own personal experience, I prefer to set this with a powder right away so I don't have to experience any of that tacky dewiness at all. The final thing I wanted to touch on is the color spectrum. I picked this up in color NW20, and it's the same color that I use in the Studio Fix Fluid. And I know there's been a lot of talk of like, does the Pro Longwear run lighter? Does it run darker? And in my experience, the Pro Longwear runs slightly darker and slightly more pink undertoned than the Studio Fix Fluid. Overall, I think Mac's Pro Longwear Foundation is a really great everyday foundation. It offers medium coverage, it offers extremely long wear, it's really great for those of us with oily skin or those of us living in a humid climate and you really need that foundation to stay on your face all day. I also really enjoy the finish of this foundation, surprisingly. I typically love the more matte finish, but I really like the versatility of this product that depending on if I wanted to go for a more dewy, radiant look or a more matte look, this foundation would be able to deliver both of these looks. So overall, I definitely think the Pro Longwear Foundation is worth checking out and worth the money. I'm not sure if I'll repurchase just because I love to try new foundations and I have so many foundations to get through. I can't even really like consider repurchasing or that question. But I think the only really negative for me is just the blendability, really working with this product. When you first apply it, I don't like it, but then as I wear it throughout the day, I really, really like it. And because it lasts so long, I think it's a really great value for the money. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I hope that you enjoyed this review. If you have any other questions about the Pro Longwear Foundation, please leave me a comment below. I would be very happy to answer any of the questions that you have. Have a good one. Bye.